This video, I'm going to be talking about equity markets close higher US, Canada resume trade negotiations. This video was supposed to drop yesterday. I decided to get my rest, so the video never came out. And as you can see, it says June 29th, so that means uh, it wasn't supposed to come out today when you seen this video, but I did write it down to talk about. So let's go ahead and read this article. All right. The United States will resume trade negotiations with Canada immediately after Ottawa scrapped its digital service tax targeting U.S. technology firms. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said on Monday. Absolutely has it said on Fox News channel when asked about talks restarting. All right. As you can see, it's a little video right here. I'm not gonna click. It's gonna keep annoying me. Shout out to my Apple Watch. I'm tagging products that I use. That's the only reason why I'm bringing up my Apple Watch SE. I just copped it maybe 3 days ago, I think, on a Sunday, I think. Anyways, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters that Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney called U.S. President Donald Trump on Sunday evening to tell him the tax was being dropped, calling it a big victory for U.S. tech companies. Very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America, she said, creating Trump's hardline negotiation style for the shift. President Trump knows that every country on the planet needs to have good trade relationships with the United States, and it was a mistake for Canada to vow to implement that tax will have hurt our tech companies here in the United States, she said. Trump had asked Canada to drop the tax at the G7 meeting in Canada early June. Has said it's something that they studied now. They got agreed to for sure. That means that we can get back on negotiations. Canada halted its plans to begin collecting a new digital service tax targeting U.S. technology firms just hours before this was due to start on Monday in a bid to advance stalled trade negotiations with the U.S. Canada Finance Ministry said late on Sunday that Carney and Trump would resume trade negotiations in order to agree on a deal by July 21st. Thank you, Canada, for removing your digital services tax, which was intended to stifle American innovation and would have been a deal breaker for any trade deal in America. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick responded on X. Stocks hit a record highs on Wall Street on Monday morning as the sentiment in markets rose amid optimization in U.S. trade negotiations key partner, including Canada. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also struck an optimistic tone over the potential for a flurry of a trade ahead of July 9 deadline after the 10% U.S. tariff rates on imports from many countries are set to snap back to Trump's April 2nd rates of 11% to 50%. But Bessent, speaking on Bloomberg Television, warned that countries may not get extensions from the deadline, even if they are negotiating in good faith. He suggested previously any extensions would be up to Trump himself. Leavitt and Trump was meeting his trade team this week to set tariff rates for those countries that weren't negotiating. He is going to set the rates for many of those countries if they don't come back to the table negotiating in good faith, and he is meeting his trade team this week to do that, he said. Trump abruptly called off the trade talks with Canada on Friday over Ottawa's digital service tax, saying it was a blatant attack. He reiterated this Sunday pledging to set a new tariff rate on Canadian goods within the next week, which threatened to push U.S. and Canada relations back into chaos after the period of relative calm. We have countries that are negotiating in good faith, but they should be aware that we can't get across the line because they are being recalcitrant. What the heck? I love reading new words, man. Then we could spring back to the April 2 levels. But that said, I hope that won't happen. Or have to happen, excuse me. Trade U-turn. Trump and Carney met at a G7 summit with the Canadian Prime Minister saying that they have agreed to wrap up a new economic agreement within 30 days. Canada planned digital tax was 3% of the digital services revenue a firm takes in from Canadian users above 20 million in a calendar year, and payments were to be retroactive in 2022. It would have been impacted giant U.S. technology firms including Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, Google, and Apple. The tax collection slated for Monday will be halted. A statement from Canada's Finance Ministry said the Finance Minister, Ferocious Francis Philippi, Champagne will bring forward legislation to rescind Digital Services Tax Act. Canadian business groups applaud Carney's decision, as well as the U.S. Congress removal of a revenge tax provision from Republican tax legislation known as 899. The decision to eliminate the DST makes sense. This tax will have fallen on Canadian consumers, business, and investors in the form of higher costs and hurt our economy at a critical time, said David Pierce, Vice President of Government Relations at Canadian Chamber of Commerce. In a statement, some observers said Carney's decision ran counter to his campaign promises. However, Carney's Liberal Party won an election in April, pledging to stand up to Trump. It feels like we're standing down real quickly, said Vas Bednar, Managing Director of the Canadian Shield Institute for Public Policy, a think tank. Opposition Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre said Carney needs to demand concessions from Trump. Canadians need certainty that Liberals will put Canada first and defend Canadian sovereignty in these negotiations, Poilievre said on X. Canada is the second largest U.S. trading partner after Mexico and the largest buyer of U.S. exports. It bought $349.4 billion of U.S. goods last year and exported $412.7 billion to the U.S., according to U.S. Census Bureau data. Canada has escaped Trump's broad tariffs imposed in April, but still faces other duties, including 50% on steel and aluminum export to the United States. Reporting, so they're in talks. Everything should work out. We don't want to get taxed. I'm gonna stop playing this video. I don't want to get copyrighted. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what's really going on, to be real with y'all. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We read a lot of things. They're making a lot of promises. They're doing this, doing that. Only thing I can say is, man, you know, I hope it makes sense, you know, for whatever they're doing. If it's going to hurt the economy, it's nothing that we can do. We can't do anything about it. It just is what it is. At this point, you know, Trump is going to make his decision. People don't like Trump. Some people love Trump. But at the end of the day, I'm just reading this article, trying to bring light and information and knowledge to you guys, and for myself as well. You know what I mean? So they're having a tax invasion or war that's going on. That's going to mess up both sides if we're not careful. If they're not careful, so pretty much that's really what I got from that. You know what I'm saying? All that being said, guys, your boy is tired, man. I'm finna get up out of here, man. I see you guys. I love you guys. Hey, get you an Apple Watch. Get you a smart watch. They sell them at Walmart. You don't have to have a Apple Watch, or you don't have to have a Google Watch. You can actually get one that keeps up like with your fitness and possibly takes your calls. I don't know, but I know this one I can talk to people on my AT&T. You know what I'm saying? Profile that I have on my phone, and I think it's a good look. So I'm gonna see you guys a little bit later. Thank you guys for watching. Stay blessed. By the best. We out.